What's good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. And break down what's happening with the overall market moving forward, what's going on with important earnings, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I begin to detail all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below in the description. If you sign up for Moon, deposit $100, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon in just about 3 weeks. Anyways, for Tesla right now, we're actually seeing an attempt for this thing to try to balance right here. So we're trying to hold above our 50 EMA. We didn't really get any really negative headlines this morning so far. We did see some of them, but it wasn't that intense relative to yesterday. So there is an attempt by Tesla to try to get up, I would say, to our 200 EMA. That's very, very possible. But even if Tesla does get a little rebound, it may not last forever because we're going to be looking at some tight resistance levels and also other things that could affect us. So as a reminder for today, the main piece of data came out, which was initial jobless claims. This was at 231,000, well above expectations. We have continuing jobless claims also once again aligned with expectations, and jobless claims for the 4-week average was above expectations as well. At 11:30 a.m., we have the bill auctions coming out, and then later on we have Dowley from the Fed giving a speech. So this is going to be the last pieces of data that will affect the markets, but everything else is quite minor. Right now, the Dow is on the longest winning streak of the year so far after rising for the 6th trading day in a row on Wednesday. And once again, it's continuing to hold up very, very well. But once again, guys, the market is still approaching some tight resistance. There's been a lot of talk about how Disney and Warner Bros. Discovery once again have a very, very nice looking plan offering the streaming services together. So that's something worth noting, something that they have come up with. Google had a blowout earnings report last month that sparked a bigger rally in Alphabet shares since 2015 and once again, it pushed the market cap past $2 trillion. But internally, there are a lot of things going on, such as employees grilling executives, questioning their performance, and things like that. And we're also starting to see more and more layoffs, which are still becoming the bigger priorities. This is happening throughout the different stocks out there. Besides that, I'm not seeing anything else that's too crazy, at least for the markets. And then in terms of more data, just as a reminder for today, we had Roblox and Warner Bros. Discovery announce their earnings. Everything else is very, very minor. So for Roblox, they ended up actually missing on Q1 revenue estimates. That's why the share price is down quite a bit. Revenue was up at about 801 million, below expectations. EPS was a loss of 43 cents, which is actually a little bit better than expected. We were looking at a loss of 53 cents as the expectations. Their guidance overall had a midpoint at 885 million. That's well below the expectation of 938 million. So very, very weak guidance for Q2. And the full year guidance is also below expectations with a midpoint of 4 billion. That's below the 4.2 billion target. So weak guidance and a miss in revenue for the quarter is why Roblox is down 30%, sadly. Not the best of news. Warner Bros. Is also a little bit down. They did see some nice streaming growth, but unfortunately, the first quarter estimates are not very, very good for them. So their loss per share was 40 cents. That's worse than what you were expecting, a loss of 24 cents per share. And their revenue is only 9.96 billion. We wanted at least 10.2 billion. So below expectations is why the share price is down. On top of all of this, we can also see that right over here, everything was down about 20% after you adjust for like interest rates, taxes, depreciation, and such. So not the best of news for them, at least for this first quarter. Now for streaming growth, it wasn't that bad. It actually saw some nice growth overall, totaling to about 99.6 million. So that's what we're looking at in terms of total subscribers. But overall, it doesn't really offset the loss that we had there, and that's pretty much how things are looking for them, at least moving forward. Anyways, that's it for earnings and everything. Let's talk about Tesla. For Tesla, there's been a lot of news coming out that Tesla's laying off over 16,000 employees, saying your last working days will be today. That's very, very sad to hear about, right? I know that, it's hard for anyone to lose their job. I have a lot of sympathy for people that have to go through that. But this is something that a lot of these automotive companies are going through, a lot of big tech companies, and a lot of companies involved in the EV space, because right now things are shifting as we're starting to see the high interest rates affecting our economy. Tesla's a clean energy company. If you want to go down that route, I wouldn't necessarily say that, because Tesla is still, responsible for pollution and carbon emissions and such, but they are attempting to improve the situation, which is something worth noting. But yes, if anything, they are becoming cleaner as time goes on. On top of all, excuse me, on top of all of that, out of all of their employees, they have about 140,000 employees which are connected to the company. So far, they've laid off as many as 16,000, more than 10%. And Musk has once again said he has a desire to actually lay off closer to 20%. So we'll see how that ends up going. Filing reports are still showing that Tesla may be laying off even more, and they have like another 500 plus coming. So the layoffs are just continuing for Tesla. That's a little bit negative for the company, especially as they're losing some very, very good employees. But they're doing this once again because of the current situation that they are in. And then don't forget that the Justice Department is still examining whether Tesla misled consumers, investors, and regulators about its promises about FSD. So that is very, very important. There's a lot of claims involving wire fraud and FSD claims. So it's very important. That is still making lots and lots of headlines. So for Tesla, despite these negative headlines, we did actually drop quite a bit after that news came out yesterday. So for today, going to be watching 175 as support. If we hold this, we could be pushing back up to 176.8 and eventually 178. So watch those resistance levels. And if that breaks, 180 is coming. If we lose support at 175, we're going to be looking for a dip all the way down to 172. But as of right now, Tesla's actually turning on the 4 hours. So I do see some life in this, and it could actually try to push a little bit higher. It looks a little bit like it wants to push higher towards this resistance right here. But even if it does push a little higher, is it going to reject or not? We'll just have to wait and see. So there could be a little push coming before we end up seeing another reaction. But the overall trend on Tesla is still bearish. So even if it does push all the way up here, it could still reject and come down and still be on a downtrend. So there's no sign of this actually kind of breaking out yet. I could also draw out like a trend line just like this, an extended one, and kind of draw out this resistance just like this. So it is possible maybe Tesla pushes towards our EMAs, maybe goes a little bit higher, and before it gets a little rejection. So watch and see if that ends up being the case, because this is what the trend is showing us. Tesla may try to like rebound a bit, but it could reject anyways. I want to make that very, very clear. Now for SPY, although this is at 517.5, I wouldn't fully trust that, we're officially bullish or bearish. We're still stuck within our range. So if we break 518.5, then yes, we could turn back to bullish and start pushing all the way up to 520. If we lose 515, we could turn back to bearish and start sinking to 513.5. Otherwise, we're just kind of stuck right now. We've been going back and forth between 515, 518 for like the last 2.5 days. So we'll see. We're still stuck within the range, so give it some time. We're just range trading right now on SPY, so watch and see which way we break to determine the bigger move. It is trying to push right now during the pre-market, but just to be safe, we will see if this resistance breaks or not. With the QQQ, it's the same thing. We've been range bound as well. If we break past 441, we could turn back to bullish. And then we have like 442 coming in higher levels. If we lose this 438.5 area, I could see it dipping all the way down to 437 and 435. But overall, we're still kind of stuck within this range. We'll give this some time just to see how things end up looking. For Nvda is stuck within this range between 892 and 908. We've been going back and forth for quite some time. If it breaks 908, we're going to be pushing all the way up to 920. If we lose 892, we're going to be falling all the way down to 875. Overall, we're just stuck within this range, so it might range trade for a bit. Could even try to push a little higher, but then even if it does do so, just be prepared, because the trend on Nvda could still lead this to potentially slowing down. So I think it might actually attempt to push a little bit for now. Excuse me, it might push a little higher, and then we'll see how it reacts. We're still stuck within this range, but we're on the upper side of it, so I am seeing a little bit of life, but it's not that crazy. It's not that insane. For Apple's completely stuck within this range as well. We've been chopping between the 182 area. If we lose 181.36, we're bearish. If we break past 183.5, we're bullish, and we're just kind of stuck. So I just think it's going to chop at least for the time being. For a few more tickers, if you look at Amazon, we're approaching the 190 resistance. We have 190 as our resistance. If we do end up breaking through that, we could turn even more bullish. For now, we're just kind of trading sideways. So it could actually get very close to 190, reject back down again, retrace to 187, and continue to go back and forth. Same thing with Meta. Meta could also just trade kind of sideways right over here. I see resistance right here at this 475 area. If we break this, 480 could be coming. So we're showing some strength on Meta, but just be careful, because the higher we go, the tougher the resistance is getting. The VIX is starting to bounce just a bit, but it hasn't got an official breakout. It's still on a downtrend. So it is up a little bit in the pre-market, but it hasn't officially bounced or broken out. So give this some time. With that being said, guys, thank you all so much for listening. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the markets. Tesla is attempting to rebound a bit, but we have to try to break past 175.25 and hold that. And then if we do so, we could be making an attempt for about 176.8. And we'll see if this rejects or not. So just give this some time and we'll see how things go. There could be an attempt for a slight little push. With that being said, I just want to appreciate every single one of you. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day and peace out.